Morning, you alright? I hope you are, genuinely hope you are. It is now Wednesday. Crazy, right? It's gone fast, isn't it? Feels like it's gone really fast for me. Feels like it was the weekend like 5 seconds ago. Alright, it's now Wednesday, the 25th of March in the year of our Lord, 2026. It's just ticked past 8 in the AM, Greenwich Mean Time, of course. And as always, I'm joined by my producer, Little Harry. How are you this morning, good sir?
Morning, yeah, I'm all good.
Great, can't say fairer than that, can you? And you are the glorious band, the chosen few who are watching this live from around the world. The best among us, the best people on earth watch the Beau Show live. Come on, what are you going to do? Watch Jeremy Kyle, watch Mike Graham, please. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. All right. Breakfast with Beau, the Beau Show. Beau's Breakfast Club, hashtag real BBC. Get it done. Get her done. Right, should we just jump straight into it then? No further ado. Let's stop mucking about. What is the legacy corporate mainstream media banging on about this morning? What are they lying to you about by omission? Because that's what they do every single day of the year without fail. What's that cabal of evil, truly evil Fleet Street editors trying to pretend is or isn't important? All right, we've got on the front pages, US troops gather in Gulf, the Gulf region, not at a golf club, and Strictly no BAFTAs. Strictly Come Dancing didn't get nominated for any BAFTAs. Big news. All right, the iPaper. We'll read the blurb on the iPaper because it's probably about the best thing you get out of Fleet Street, isn't it? It's probably like the best, closest thing to sort of normal reporting and journalism is the blurb they put on the front of the iPaper. All right, US troops gather in Gulf, or are beginning to, rather, as Trump's deadline nears. Military build-up raises possibility of battle to gain control of Straits of Hormuz. All right. It's going to bug me, because oh, forget it. All right. Pentagon deployed 3,000... If you're only just listening, you're not watching, there's a bit of fluff on my lapel. It's bugging me. It won't budge. Okay. Move on. Pentagon deploying 3,000 airborne troops, probably the 82nd Airborne out of Fort Bragg. Green Berets out of Fort Bragg. What the hell were they doing here, Dylan? No? Predator 1? No? Okay. Pentagon deploys 3,000 airborne troops to Gulf, giving Trump options to escalate Iran war. 2,200 US Marines will arrive on Friday, with a second unit of 2,500 ordered to head to Gulf. Decision to put boots on the ground in Iran still not made. Well, amid confusion over the true state of talks between Tehran and Washington. Yeah, we'll get into that today. That's sort of one of the main things today in the news, is the exact degree to which Trump is, or maybe not, talking to anyone in Iran, and who is he talking to, and what they're saying. Key war objective for US now is reopening shipping lane, breaking Iran's stranglehold, and avoiding world energy crisis, quote, worse than 1970s, quote. Iran regime fears ceasefire may be a trap and attacks Israel, Kuwait, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia as military vows to fight, quote, until complete victory, quote. That's the Iranians saying that. They'll fight until complete victory. Some mystery oil traders bet $580 million minutes before Trump's Iran update in unusually timed deals. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, didn't we? Oh my God, that's going to bug me so much. What is that? That's going to... I've got to just move on. I've got to get over it. A bit of fluff on my lapel. Okay. So, big things there. Loads of big things. Basically, one of the main stories is if and when troops are going to... But there'll be some limited boots on the ground in Persia from the United States' point of view. Yeah, so 5,000 Marines, Royal Marines? US Marines, something in the order of 5,000 US Marines and maybe a few thousand airborne, like 82nd Airborne parachute dudes. So, with the best will in the world, that is limited, isn't it? That's very limited. Maybe taking particular islands or a tiny bit of the coastline in and around the tightest bit of the Straits of Hormuz, or that Karg Island, which is much more northernly in the Persian Gulf, isn't it? It's much more. So yeah, I mean, the reporting there saying that the decision hasn't been made. Well, I don't know about that. They probably wouldn't send them otherwise. They always say that, don't they? Like in the run up to this war, or in the run up to a whole bunch of different US actions throughout the years, until it's go time, they say no, we haven't made a decision. But they have though. Like in the run up to this one, for example, putting an aircraft carrier in the Gulf of Aden and sending loads and loads of mid-air refueling tanker aeroplanes, and people see that, notice it. And the Pentagon, Hegseth or something, gets asked, and they're like, no decision has been made. Yes, it has. Obviously it has. Obviously it has. I would wager that it's the same thing here. No decision has been made. Really? That's why you're mobilising and sending 5,000 plus guys to the region. Probably has been made. Okay, do you remember yesterday we talked about those unusual oil trades? I thought that was an interesting story, and now a fair bit of the mainstream media have picked up on that. In fact, before we go on with, I think the Mail Online leads with it, in fact. Look, so who's cashing in from Trump's war? Mystery traders who made millions in just minutes before peace hopes post. And so, look, they've got a little graphic there to make it perfectly clear exactly what's going on. Look at that dotted line. That's when Trump posted his post, and the trading activity spikes on the back of it massively. But what's that little bit? It's this spike that they're talking about. It's that little spike there, just completely unusual. Look, it should just carry on like that, really, until something happens. Oh, what happened there? Anyone just watching this? My thing flipped out. Okay, I didn't click anything, I swear. Yeah, so this little spike here, well, it's not a little, it's not a small spike. This big spike. This is people who had inside information, isn't it? That was people at the Pentagon or the State Department or the White House or in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem that had to know. Small number of people that knew exactly what was about to happen. I mean, well, it's even smaller than that, isn't it? It was Trump. Well, who knows? The reporting is still, we don't know who it is. It's just mystery people. But, cheeky, isn't it? Really cheeky. I mean, well, cheeky. It's illegal, isn't it? It's just completely illegal, let's be honest. I don't know where people get the chutzpah to do that. What kind of mashugana have you got to be to do that? Got to be a real scumbag. Okay, so yeah, on the front page of the iPaper, that's giving us the rundown of where we are this morning. I mean, the Iranians said yesterday, didn't they? There's no talks going on with the Donald and the US, none. And some reporting even overnight, last night, Iran was still saying no, there's no deal, there's no talking going on, but there is. In other ways, Iran have confirmed that there is. So what's coming out of Iran isn't perfectly consistent. Sort of can't blame them. Well, I do. They're liars. But in another sense, completely different sense, sort of can't blame them because their whole government and infrastructure is, and even like communications is all destroyed or largely destroyed, according to somebody like Hegseth, anyway. It's not that surprising that one part of their government or establishment will say one thing and another act and do another thing. It's perhaps not surprising. All right, let's move on. The Guardian, ooh. Don't do that. Guardian. Gross. They're so gross. Oh, why does it exist? For champagne socialist boomers is why it exists. Blue-haired, insane students that don't know their arse from their elbow. That's why it exists. And foreign fifth columnists. US set to deploy airborne troops as Middle East strikes intensify. Okay, so particularly Israel and Iran launching more and more missiles at each other over the last 24... Since I last spoke to you, 23 hours ago, odd. Paratroopers poised to go to Gulf, while Trump says talks still ongoing. So yeah, I believe it is, the various reports said Fort Bragg, which is the 82nd Airborne Brigade, or Division, the 82nd Airborne Division. Very eminent paratroopers. Even more than the 101st, right? Wasn't the 82nd in doing stuff in Italy even before D-Day? Or Sicily? Yeah. Probably the most eminent airborne division in the world, the 82nd. Okay. And Trump said various things, didn't he? He said the Iranians were sort of dying to make a deal. That's not a good choice of words. They were my words, by the way. But he was saying they were just, they're and he said they're breaking their neck to do a deal. That's also not a great choice of words, is it? They, according to Trump, the Iranians, are eager to do a deal. Let's put it that way. They're eager to do a deal. They say they're not even talking. But they obviously are. They obviously are, because there's a few things that are going on. So, what is it? Various things. All right, so they're using Pakistan as some sort of intermediary. Because Pakistan is one of Iran's very, very few allies that are left, really. I mean, they're a neighbour, aren't they? Right there. Pakistan's involved in its own war with Afghanistan. Full-blown war with Afghanistan, Pakistan's having. Pakistan's bombing Kabul and stuff at the moment. Anyway, Pakistan will prepare to act as, an intermediary between them. And we might see later, we'll probably see later. Apparently Trump has, or the White House has proffered a 15-point peace plan. Trump says Iran have agreed to give up their nuclear dreams and even their stockpiles of enriched uranium, what they've got. Iran's just saying no, none of that's true. But we know that someone somewhere in Iran is doing talks and deals with some people, right? That is definitely happening. Look at the India deal, and also Iran has come out overnight saying that the Straits of Hormuz will be opened to a limited degree. So what did they say? Their wording was something like to non-aggressive people, i.e. not the United States and Israel, but other people. If you've got tankers, we'll let you go through the Straits of Hormuz. So there is some group somewhere in Iran that is able to make and do deals, and are. So, okay. The line coming out of Iran that was simply, there's nothing to the story that we're talking with the US, just isn't true, or almost certainly isn't true, but, it's politics, that's just what they're saying at the moment, isn't it? Who it is exactly, we still don't know. I mean, yesterday Trump was asked that question again, and in classic Trump fashion, he sort of said, nobody knows who to talk to, although we do, like in the same sentence, in exactly the same breath, but we do, but we're talking to the right people. He didn't name anyone particularly, well, at all. Okay, let's move on a bit, let's have a look at a couple of other bits and bobs. Shield boys from toxic manosphere, MPs say no. I don't think that. Let boys be boys. The way blokes were raised in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, it's fine. Stop making boys into weak little soy boy, pathetic, cringy, nothing men. Stop doing that. Let them make up their own mind what it is or isn't to be a man. How about that? What's wrong with that? Boys, men, don't take your cue of what it means to be a man from women. And weirdo soy lefties. Just make up your own mind. Go with your own heart. There's nothing wrong with that. God, shield boys from toxic manosphere. Shut up. Spy operations mounted by hostile states up 50% in the last year as well. The story says just hostile states. It is like China, Russia, Iran, places like that. Up 50%. Yeah, our country in Great Britain is infiltrated and subverted in all sorts of ways, isn't it? I mean, that is true. Didn't Reform have one of their leaders, one of their senior people, completely convicted, wasn't it? Being a Russian asset in some way? Multiple stories come out of both Tory and Labour people being on the books for the Chinese intelligence services. Yeah. Yeah, MI5 and MI6 need to up their game a bit, I think. Don't they? Well, they're still one of the best intelligence services in the world. People talk about how terrible and how tiny and terrible the UK Navy is, and it is tiny and terrible. But most countries have almost no Navy whatsoever. Right, I just had a little moan there about MI5 and MI6. Most countries have got very, very, very minimal, if anything at all, intelligence services. We moan about our nuclear submarines. Very few countries in the whole world have got nuclear submarines, hardly any. We've got high standards. We should do. We're falling below those high standards, but still doing better than the vast majority of countries in the world. In various ways. It's just not up to snuff, just not as good as it used to be. All right. We don't want a managed decline, do we? I don't want a managed decline to be reformed into a slightly different shape of managed decline. I want to restore what we used to have, what we used to be. Right? The Times, the venerable Times. Middle class will lose out as benefit claimants get energy help. Yeah, Rachel from accounts. The weird know-nothing Karen, who certainly isn't an economist, who is somehow the Chancellor of the Exchequer, is saying that the government may be able to help with energy bills, but not middle-class people, not if you've actually got any money. So, migrants most helped. And, of course, that will come at the cost of the middle class. There you go. Again, that's leftism for you, isn't it? That's socialism. Is that you destroy the kulaks, the middle class. Destroy them. If you can. They're the problem. They're the enemy. Talk about billionaires, of course. Of course, eat the rich. Of course, that goes without saying. Then it's the middle class. Then you squeeze the kulaks. You even squeeze peasants who have got a tiny bit more money than people that have got nothing at all. That's what socialism is. Why a middle class person would ever vote left or Labour or Green, Lib Dem or anything like that, other than out of just a sense of guilt, which is what a lot of the champagne socialists are, isn't it? I've got some sort of guilt that I've got a bit of money. Feel bad about it. Not going to actually really help, but I will vote Labour. All right, well, don't complain. Don't complain then when the socialists try and destroy any sort of middle class. Anyone who owns anything. I don't like ownership. Everything should be owned by the state. You might think I'm exaggerating. I'm joking. You're like, well, calm down, Beau. It's only the Labour Party. It's not actually 1950s Maoism. Yeah, but it's not actually 1930s Stalin. Yeah, but the ideology is the same. It's that anyone that owns anything, ownership. That's why they hate landlords. That's why they hate private schools. Anything like that. They despise it. It's out of pure resentment, isn't it? Leftism is the politics of resentment. Having a chip on your shoulder. It's great. And, of course, never, ever, ever works. It always ends in nightmare and civil strife. Starvation, ultimately. Okay. Trump prepares to seize Ireland with elite forces. So the Venerable Times is talking about Carg Island, that maybe the 82nd Airborne. Would you like to see the 82nd Air footage of the 82nd Airborne parachuting onto Carg Island? Kind of cool. I mean, politically, in the grand scheme of things, in like the sweep of history, it's probably not a great idea. But simply in terms of like a cool bit of footage, be pretty cool, wouldn't it? All right, paratroops sent for possible Carg assault. US president says he has already changed regime. Yeah, we said that, but in the proper, truest, clear sense of regime change, it obviously hasn't. But if you want to use those words to mean all the people, or nearly all the people that were actually at the top of that regime are now in their graves, or turned into tiny particles, blown to bits. In that sense, the regime has changed, hasn't it? In that sense, but it's not. Okay, you know, it's now semantics, isn't it? You're now playing with words. But so he's wrong, but also right. You get it. Okay, the Telegraph, the Daily Telegraph. These are people that are these are British sailors on HMS Dragon, Enter the Dragon. There you go, there's a picture of them. National savings in chaos over payouts. Yeah, this was a thing about one particular bank. What was it? NS&I. Bank accused of short-changing bereaved families amid thousands of complaints. NS&I. National Savings and Investments Bank. It's not good, is it? That's not good publicity for them. One thing I will say, though, when I used to work at JP Morgan many years ago, like 20 years ago, or whatever, was it? Anyway, if you've got a bank account or any sort of savings in a joint name, often a man and wife do that, and then one of them dies, it is really hard for the other one to get that money. Really hard. Like, way harder than you would think. If nothing's been left in place. If the will doesn't say, I bequeath everything to my spouse. And a lot of people die intestate, don't they? You didn't make a will. Because you didn't think you were ill, you didn't think you were going to die, and then boom. Dad has a heart attack out of nowhere. No will. Bank accounts in joint names. Yeah. And it's not that uncommon, it's not that rare. I don't know if that's what's going on here with NS&I, but just so you know, it is really hard. The surviving spouse will have to jump through all sorts of legal hoops just to get their own money. Sucks. It's really bad. Yeah. So be aware of that. If you've got stuff in joint names and you haven't made a will, maybe think about that. All right. Fuel shortage may hit Europe within weeks. I had a look at the oil price this morning. It's really not that bad still at the moment. So like West Texas oil, crude oil, Texas crude was at like $89 a barrel. Brent crude was at bang on $100 a barrel, and this was about an hour ago, an hour and a half ago. So there it is. It came down another sort of 6%, roughly. It's so volatile that number would have already changed, but this morning or late last night I was seeing that it'd come down another 6% over the last day or so. So again, still very, very volatile, but not through the roof. A bit later we might see reports about Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock. BlackRock with something like $14 trillion of assets under management. He said, or he was reporting, lots of people were reporting that he said crude is going to go to $150 a barrel and there will be a recession. It's not what he said. If you just... They can't help but misrepresent things, can they, to get clicks and buy and sell newspapers. What he actually said, because he did an interview, what he actually said is, in about a year's time, no one knows how this thing's going to break, right? No one knows if the Iranian regime will collapse. If it does collapse, whether it will be replaced by some sort of decent government or not. If it doesn't collapse, whether the regime that's left in place will become more pliant or not. Nobody knows. And what he said was, in a year's time, the price of oil could be $40 a barrel. It could be $150 a barrel. Nobody knows. That's what he was saying. That's what he said. Like, one way or another, Iran could become pliant, and all the Venezuela stuff gets up and running, cooking on gas, so to speak. And the price of oil could tumble loads and be $40 a barrel. Or everything could just be chaos still there in a year's time, and it might be $150 a barrel. That's what he was saying. A lot of papers just go with, Larry Fink says it's going to be $150 a barrel. They can't help themselves, can they? They sort of can't help themselves. All right, let's see. What else have we got? Oh, Met Police, London Police, failed to speak to McSweeney about phone theft after Mandelson sacking. Because they were too busy. Literally, that was their quote, we're too busy. So Morgan McSweeney, in October last year, i.e. just a month after Peter Mandelson was fired, they were sort of forced to remove him for the Epstein scandal. Within a month of that, because that was in September last year, in October last year, Morgan McSweeney, the now fired Chief of Staff for Sir Keir Starlin, apparently his mobile phone was snatched out of his hand by a bike thief person in London, and all his texts that he had with Mandy, they're just gone, and it's gone. Oh, okay, it's not a question whether that's true or not. In fact, Tories and Reform have both said that already. They're quite literally said, we don't really believe that. That's just far too convenient. You lost it. You got stolen out of your hand, was it? It's lost. You just lost it. It's just gone now. Yeah, right. Apparently, he did phone up the police and got a little crime number. That's what happens now in the UK. Mostly, unless it's a very, 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 very serious crime. Even if it's like your whole car has got stolen or your house has been burgled. You phone up the police, tell them, oh, I've just been a victim of a crime. And they're like, oh, have you? Well, we'll make a note of that then. Here's your crime reference number. Okay, thanks, bye. That's it now. Bye. Click. So Morgan McSweeney did apparently phone the police and he's got his little reference number. But nothing was done about it. Since then, they've looked into it. Various journalists and the Met Police themselves have re-looked into that because now they really want that mobile phone. And they're like, no. And the police are like, no, we logged it. We gave him his little number. And then that's it. We were too busy. That's their words as well. Again, we're too busy to do anything else than that, other than that. Oh, all right. Well, that's it then. End of story. Something that might be at the very, very crux. The very crux of the whole thing. God knows what they might have talked about between themselves. All the way up to and including Nathaniel Rothschild. Who knows? God knows. Because it's gone. It's just gone now. Like all of Mandy's emails in his lobbying firm he had. They're just gone. Lost. That's it. Brilliant. Fine. Okay. The Mail. The Man Online. Utter slop. So sloppy. Okay, there's 44-year-old Sienna Miller, who's pregnant. Okay, middle class to foot bill for Reeves's benefits. Okay, all right, you get it. We already talked about that. I'm not going to talk any more about that. You get it. Okay. A UNESCO heritage site monastery hit by a rare daylight Russian drone attack in Ukraine. Yeah, that's a shame. Whenever I see anything that's of real architectural historical value that gets destroyed in wars, it is a shame. Like the Crac de Chevalier, the castle of knights in Syria was mildly damaged when like all the ISIS stuff a few years back. Things like that. Loads of things in the Middle East. Anyway, there's a Ukraine important monastery of some type that's been hit. Pain at the pump. Drivers pay £307 million price for Trump's war. Well, it's Bibi's war, isn't it? Rachel Reeves warns of significant economic impact from Iran conflict, but fails to announce any help for households facing higher bills, even as average litre of petrol soars as high as £1.46. All right. Price of crude isn't significantly higher than it was at the beginning of the war. Okay. Financial Times, Iran reprisals, missile waves strike Tel Aviv. So it was the case, wasn't it, that Iran was holding fire a bit in the first, 2.5 weeks of the war? I said about 2.5 weeks in, didn't I? That it looks like Iran didn't really have as big a stockpile as they kept claiming they did. I think I did also caveat by saying, who knows, they might still. But at that point it looked like it didn't. Well, now, that's proved to be an inaccurate take, relatively inaccurate take. They are still firing decent amount of ordnance into Israel. Well, and all over the place, right? All over the place. Even in the last 24 hours. Stuff flying around the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi. There you go. VW weighs Volkswagen. Weighs shift from cars to defence in deal with Israel's Iron Dome maker. So yeah, Volkswagen going to repurpose a bit of their business to make aerospace and defence stuff, military stuff. Yeah, classic thing. Take like Boeing, for example. They make commercial aircraft and military stuff, don't they? Loads of companies. Loads of big companies do that. So Volkswagen's getting in on that. There you go. Oddie admits to grabbing former employees' breasts without consent. Don't worry, it's not Bill Oddie. Don't worry. Some other dude called Crispin Oddie. It's not even spelt the same. Don't worry, it's not even spelt the same as Bill Oddie. It's fine. Crispin Oddie, some fund manager, is no one of importance. Okay. Well, he is, but not in world affairs. We're not interested in him. All right, the Daily Express, it's a good paper. People moaning about how if you want to buy an England shirt, it's like 90 quid, and that's quite expensive. People moaning about that. Don't buy it then. Reform pledge to cancel monstrous channel migrant deal and demand British cashback. Good, that's nice. That's actually good. Yeah. Can't knock that. Why not? No more money unless French finally stop the boats. Well, the thing is, I am of the mind that we shouldn't rely on the French at all. They're not doing it. They've got no intention of doing it. It's not even in their interests to. They get rid of a few tens of thousands of them. It's not their problem anymore. It's actually in their interests, isn't it, to send them over here. So, yeah, we should absolutely cancel any sort of deal we've got with them, because it's a nonsense. Demand our money back. Yeah, they won't give it back, but still, we could diplomatically make those noises. Demand our money back. And then take it into our own hands, because nothing else will do, will it? The migrants themselves and the people smuggling gangs, they won't stop. And the French won't stop it either. They won't do it. So what's left to do other than just an endless invasion, small boat invasion? Even though it's the tip of the iceberg, I am aware of that. Legal migration is a much more serious issue, leading to actual demographic suicide, ultimately. And before that, some sort of sectarian nightmare. But with regard to the small boats, though, take it into our own hands. Put the Royal Marines, a very small number of them will be required, very small number, or the Special Boat Service, whatever. We've got a number of men that can do this, are in fact specifically trained to do this sort of thing. put them in the channel. Within a few days, a few weeks, the people smugglers and the boat migrants will get the picture that you can't just cross the channel now with impunity. And it will stop. It's very, very simple. Just call it Operation Keep the Channel Safe or something. Honestly, I honestly believe you'd need to deploy 4, 5, 6 speedboats with half a dozen Royal Marines in each one. And we tow their little dinghy back to French waters. Not even all the way up to the French beach, just back to their waters. Just cut the tow line there. There you go, you can stay there. Because it's not like thousands cross every day. It's a few dozen, isn't it? A few dozen boats a day. And they're packed full of a few dozen people each. So it's not like a giant thing where we'd have to deploy thousands of Marines indefinitely. It'd be a few dozen can get the job done, I would have thought. Right? And then especially once I say the gangs get the picture, then I imagine the whole thing will tail off, largely. We'll keep a very, very small permanent deployment of Marines there. Very, very small. For the odd chancer that still tries it from time to time. It's really straightforward. It's really straightforward. And once again, if the French get all PO'd that a British speedboat with some Royal Marines in it have incurred into French waters ever so slightly, well then we'll have a conversation about that then. We'll have sort of summit. We'll have a big summit at Versailles, right? Or at the Elysee Palace. We'll have the Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary and their President and Foreign Secretary, and we'll sit down at a table and we'll hash it out. Not a big deal, not a problem. The only reason that's not happened already, or a long time ago, is because they don't want it to. All the Conservative governments and the current Labour government, they don't want to do that. They could do that, and they're choosing, very, very deliberately choosing every single day not to do that. It's very straightforward, isn't it? It's very straightforward. There's no other way to describe it than that they want us invaded by foreign criminals. Otherwise they would stop it. Wouldn't they? Right, the Metro. Ugh. The Metro. I halted baby unit terrorist with cuddles. A couple of years ago, this guy, Farouk, this monster, this absolutely insane monster, he built a homemade bomb out of a pressure cooker or something, walked into a maternity unit in Leeds. A maternity unit. Oh, but diversity is a strength. It's our greatest strength. Yeah, diversity built Britain. Diversity is a greatest strength. You'd be a bigot if you didn't want someone like that in your country. It would be un-British to question the concept of letting people like this, endless numbers of them, in your country. Diversity is a strength. Greatest strength. Can't question it. That'd be Islamophobic or something. Farouk walked into a maternity unit with a homemade bomb. Anyway, this guy sort of confronted him and apparently gave him a cuddle, a hug, and talked him out of detonating the bomb. Great. And the story is supposed to be like a great, look what happened, white pill, look how good this is, it's great, look at the hero. Yeah, no, I suppose, well, not suppose, yeah, all right, well done, mate. Genuinely, well done for doing that, good on you. That's not the main point about all of this, is it? That's not the most salient thing about this story, is it? They're going to give him, or did give him, the St. George's Cross or something. A gallantry gong. Yay, well done, hero dude, yay. Don't worry about this guy and people like him and what the view, the ideology, the world view that led to him doing that, and how many other people we've got in this country that hold similar views. Don't worry about that. Just focus on the guy that gave him a hug. Mental. Alright. The Mirror. Same thing. Would-be bomber ask me for a cuddle. Modest hero on how he stopped lone wolf terrorists' hospital atrocity. No, don't focus on that. Focus on this guy. Why did he do that? Why did he build a bomb and then decide to walk into a maternity unit? What led to that? What leads to that? What happens if you interrogate the thinking behind that? Where does that lead? Oh, yeah. I don't talk about a sectarian nightmare for no reason. It's not just pure paranoia. It's not just a right-wing fantasy. Okay? There was another guy, wasn't there, who got a taxi to a maternity. He made a homemade bomb. And he got a taxi to a maternity ward. And then the taxi driver locked him in the car. Drove him there, realised what was going on at some point during that journey. When he got there, locked him in. And it blew up. Remember that one? BBC tried to lie about the details of it. Remember that one? No? Okay. The Daily Star. The front page of the Daily Star is about that an England shirt costs 90 quid now. Okay. The Sun. Talking about Strictly Come Dancing in the BAFTAs. Again, anyone who's foreign, doesn't watch British TV very much. There's a TV show, I've mentioned it before, if anyone watches the Beau show every morning. Somehow it's on the front pages or in the news one way or another. Strictly Come Dancing. It's originally a show back in like the 70s. When people actually liked ballroom dancing and things, much more simple time. Then it wasn't on TV for like 20 years, 30 years. Then they brought it back, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. Strictly Come Dancing. Where you get a celebrity and a professional dancer to couple up and do dancing, and then really fey, weirdo judges judge how good they are at dancing. And every week one couple gets booted out, and at the end there's like a couple that win it. So vapid. It's utter slop nonsense. Anyway, it does do well in the... loads of people watch it. Millions of semi-brain dead normies love it. They slurp it up. They slurp up that slop endlessly. Well, the BAFTAs decided that this year, and it usually wins loads of awards, the BAFTAs said that it didn't even get nominated for anything. That's it. That's it. The BAFTAs snubbed Strictly Come Dancing. Front page of the Sun. Put that on the front page. All right. Let's have a look at our poll then, shall we? Harry, if you can bring up our poll. What did we say today? We asked you, would you like to see US troops on the ground in the Gulf? Right, what do you think? Would you like to see that? And we got over 1,100 votes. 65% of you say no. 19% of you say yes. And 15% of you say maybe. All right. So it's a win for the no's. Yeah, I said beyond the, which is a very, I'm joking really when I say it would be worth it for like the cool footage. I did say, didn't I, earlier, that like the real honest, real answer is no. It's probably for the best, if not. So yeah, 65% of you say no. Who knows? It might be the tiny thing that needs to just tip that tips the Iranian regime over the edge, or it makes the people of Iran. It's just a tiny little tipping point that makes the people of Iran rise up. That's like one of the things they needed, and the regime collapses. It might be that, mightn't it? If it is that, and I don't think it is, by the way. I'm just saying if it is, then history will remember it as a masterful chess move, wouldn't it? If that happened. Again, I don't think it would. It did, but you never know. It's easy to look back on stuff with hindsight, isn't it? But, okay, the overwhelming majority of you really say no. Yeah, fair enough. I think that's... I wouldn't want any more people to die than necessary. On all sides as well. Not just US service people. It'd be better if it could just be... If Trump can get this deal where they get their enriched uranium and Iran agrees to not build nukes anymore, like fully let the IAEA in and see everything in the whole of Iran whenever they want to, full-blown, full hangout from Iran, you can see our nuclear facilities and we're definitely not building a bomb. And then the whole war can end. If that happens, and that happens quickly, good then, okay, right. It's probably the best you can hope for at this point. That seems like the Iranian regime is very, very tenacious. I think it's much more tenacious than Hegseth thought it would be, and Trump, and Bibi. Okay. Iran says non-hostile vessels may pass through Straits of Hormuz as oil price falls. Yeah. So, as I said earlier, reporting that they let non-hostile vessels. So if you're just like, you're just like South Korean or Indonesian oil tanker, they'll just let you through. Some of the things he said, a quick summary. The US is negotiating with itself, a spokesperson for the Iranian military says. Someone like us will never come to terms with someone like you. The comments came after Donald Trump insisted Iran wants a deal so badly. Iran, they want to make a deal so badly, saying on Tuesday that Iran gave the US a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. I think that was in reference to, various things actually, but also... Okay, unconfirmed reports say the US has handed over a 15-point peace plan, I said that right at the top of the show, didn't I? Including Iran dismantling its nuclear facilities in exchange for lifting sanctions. But at the same time, the Pentagon is preparing to deploy some troops to Iran. Okay, they're the main talking points. Okay, yeah. Oh, the other big one there is that Iran sent a mission to the UN and that non-hostile vessels can pass through, which is like China, India, Pakistan, and a bunch of other smaller countries, I believe. Okay. Okay, all right. There's a couple of other stories I think worth talking about. Was there one on the ITV News? There's definitely one on the Mail Online. Oh, just that spike there. There was one I want to talk about just briefly because I know we're getting on for time a bit. But this one. Shabana Mahmood's immigration reforms face yet another setback as migrant campaigners prepare to launch major new legal challenge. Migrant campaigners. You mean fifth columnists? Migrant campaigners. Okay. And it's what Shabana Mahmood and the Home Office want and rely upon anyway. They throw out a bunch... How many times do we have to go through this? The Home Office or the Home Secretary will throw out a bunch of red meat, whether it's Suella Braverman or whoever, James Cleverly, whatever. They'll throw out some red meat. So we're going to do this, we're going to do X, Y, Z, we're going to get tough on immigration, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, no, there's been a legal challenge. Oh, well. Back to the drawing board. Meanwhile, 2 years gone by, and there's another 1 million people in the country. Oh, well. Some migrant campaigners stopped us, the government, from doing what the people want. You're the government, you can bring in legislation to make it so that they can't. A new pressure group called the Skilled Migrants Alliance. The Skilled Migrants Alliance, okay. They're not traitors, no. They're not a danger to the public interest, no. No, they're not fifth columnists, no. It's just they're just migrant campaigners. Skilled Migrants Alliance. Led by Sonali Naik, King's Counsel, who is the head of Garden Court Chambers. Not fifth columnists, not working against the interests of the nation and the people, just migrant campaigners. That's all they are, migrant campaigners. preventing the Home Office and the government from keeping us safe, trying to slow down or stop an invasion. Garden court chambers. Okay. But again, that's what they want. That's what the actual Home Office, that's what someone like Shabana Mahmood or Preeti Patel, that's what they want. That's what they rely on. So they can just go, oh, you know, we tried. We're actually based. We're actually Suella Braverman. I'm actually based. I was actually trying really hard. Were you? Were you, though? I don't know how many times we have to go through this. Because they're the government, right? Parliament, the Commons is sovereign. They could, if they wanted to, they could make laws. Remember Boris? Well, all the last few Tory governments had a giant majority. Labour at the moment has got a giant majority. If they wanted to, I mean, Labour a little less so because they can't control their own backbenchers, but certainly in the Conservative era, when Boris got that big majority, if they wanted to, they could pass all sorts of laws to just prevent, they could leave the ECHR, they could pass all sorts of laws to prevent something like the Skilled Migrants Alliance or garden court chambers from mounting legal challenges to the Home Office. They could make the Home Office all powerful again if they wanted to. But they're not, are they? They're choosing not to do that. They're choosing not to do that. It's a political calculation they're making. Okay, one little story I thought was interesting on the Express. Actually, it was the same thing about stopping small boats. One on the Sun. Don Top. Iran has agreed to never have a nuclear weapon. That's what Trump has said. So it's almost certain that the Iranians are in talks with the US, whether it's through Pakistan or not. Trump claims, as he vows, war has been won after Iran gave US, quote, very big present, quote. Okay. Look, this one man punched this other one man in the street. That's news. Pop. That's news, apparently. All right. One story I did think was mildly amusing, a little bit of an amusing one, to sort of start ending out the show. This guy, the Ibiza final boss dude. Anyone remember this guy? He's doing the rounds on Twitter, and I believe TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. Literally don't have an account, and I've got no intention of getting one. I've hardly ever clicked on it, ever. But I am on Twitter. And this dude just went viral a little bit. I mean, it's a look, isn't it? That's his real hair, by the way. He's not wearing a beret backwards or anything. That's his actual haircut. I mean, I've said it before. As a bald man, you can't really take the mickey out of other people's hair. You just can't. It's like if you're morbidly obese, you can't take the mickey out of someone for being a little bit pudgy, right? It's like if you're bald, don't try and take the mickey out of other people's hair. But that's proper Lloyd Christmas, though, isn't it? I mean, it's a look. It's a certain look. Anyway, he went viral a little while ago for just his funny, his sort of funny look, his sort of ultra Dino-ness dialed up to 11 or something, and apparently he's just been in a brawl. I think he's a Geordie. It's like a character, isn't it? He's a character from a sketch show. But no, it's really him. Like his name's Jack something. Like there's a picture. Look, I mean, he probably slays. He probably does really well with the ladies. But that's a haircut. Isn't it? I mean, again, don't get me wrong. I wish I had a head of hair as thick as that. Imagine going to the barbers. I want a Lloyd Christmas. You know Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber? Do that. But more so, if anything. Bowl it up even more. Anyway. I just think it's funny. I think it is quite a funny meme. He's obviously leaning into the look now, isn't he? Must be. All right. Enough of that. That's quite enough of that. I said I wouldn't bring you much slop. That's real slop, isn't it? I said I'd keep slop to a minimum. All right, let's move on. It's nearly 9. So should we have a look at what happened on this day in history? Should we have a quick look at that? On this day in history, March the 25th. Down through the centuries, what happened of a note? All right, on this day in 31 AD, the first century AD, in the year 31 AD, so what would that be? The age of Tiberius? Or is that just about when Caligula? That'd be Tiberius. Christians celebrate the first Easter, according to some accounts anyway. So there you go. That would be straight after the death of Jesus of Nazareth, wouldn't it be? Immediately after it, basically. Whether that's firm history or not is something else, but alright. On this day in 1436, the Florence Cathedral, the Duomo, or the Santa Maria del Fiore, which was started in 1296, is consecrated by Pope Eugene IV. It's finally finished, in other words. The Duomo in Florence. If you've ever been, I've been to Florence a number of times. It's a wonderful, wonderful city, or was. It's a bit flooded with Africans now, but until very recently, it's still a wonderful, wonderful place, Florence. I'd love to live in Tuscany. If I had endless money, if I had Elon money, one of my homes would be in rural Tuscany. It's cliched that it's a wonderful, beautiful landscape for a reason, because it is. Okay, anyway, the Duomo. Go in there and be awed and amazed. And the dome, Brunelleschi's famous dome, biggest dome in the world at the time. People, architects to this day, wonder how quite he did it with sort of early 15th century technology. Wondrous thing. And it was finished by the original Medici. It was the Giovanni Medici, wasn't it? Not Cosimo de Medici. Oh no, it's a Giovanni Medici sort of, because the building paused for ages. I mean, like decades or a century or something. They ran out of money, but then the Medici became so rich they could just afford to finish it themselves. I think it was the original Giovanni Medici started that. Then just before it was more or less almost as it was finished, he died, and then Cosimo, the first Cosimo de Medici, not Duke Cosimo de Medici, don't get him confused, finished it. Okay. On epochs, Harry. On epochs, I've got multiple parts talking about the Medici family, the history of it. Oh yeah. Talking all about the Renaissance in various ways. Got one just on Michelangelo, one just on Leonardo, one just on the Mad Monk of Florence. Yeah, okay, alright, that's enough about that. Let's go on. On this day in 1807, the British Parliament abolishes the slave trade throughout the British Empire, and a penalty of £120 per slave is introduced for ship captains. Oh yeah. Eric. On Epoch's got a whole long form bit of content all about William Wilberforce and the story of abolitionism. Lotus.com, it was £5 bronze tier membership, hundreds and hundreds of hours of content behind the paywall. Consider it. It's not much money for what you get, really. On this day in 1895, Italian troops invade Abyssinia. It's a whole long story. Can't get into it now. They're not eventually booted out until the British did it in the very beginning of World War II, really, basically, isn't it? Okay. On this day, 1960, first guided missile launched from a nuclear-powered submarine. There you go. Interesting. Rocket technology still in its infancy. Kind of. I mean, there was rockets at the end of World War II, weren't there? But still kind of in its infancy. All right. Let's have a look at the Rumble Rants and Super Chats. It's nearly 9 a.m. Let me do that so I can see the Rumble Rants. What have we got here? There's quite a lot of Rumble Rants. I'll whip through them. St. Luke 91. Luke Stewart says, "G'day, Beau. If they get a beachhead in Iran, could the US look at arming the populace to rise up in the government, giving you a lot more legitimacy? Just my conspiracy theory." Yeah, maybe. I mean, who knows? Who knows how it will go, how it would play out? But I mean, maybe. Sure. That's a maybe from me. Yeah, who knows? And who knows what special forces and sort of intelligence dudes are, like CIA operatives, but the type of CIA operative that's actually got like an M16, goes around doing badass stuff. Basically like a special forces dude, but off the books. How many of those are in Persia right now, in Iran right now, doing stuff? Where would it all lead? Who knows? I don't know. Okay, Cookie Boy 23 says, is Trump holding talks with an Indian bot? Yeah, maybe. You got to be careful when you're interacting with people online in any way that it's not just an Indian bot. Yeah. Okay. Luke again says, the more they try and shield boys from the manosphere, the more they will seek the manosphere and support it. I keep thinking of that old saying about the child rejected by the village will. Okay, I don't know about the child rejected by the village will, but I totally get your point, and I know what you're saying. It's like the Streisand effect, isn't it? Various other things, the Mandela effect. Yeah. Classic human psychology. The more you're told you can't do something, the more you'll look at it. Like, well, for a start, why not? I want to know why not. And then you look at it more. Yeah. Just trying to prevent boys being boys. Just trying to deny biology. That men and boys are a little bit crazy. Young men and boys, often, not always of course, a little bit crazy, right? Doing crazy stuff. You're going to try, and that's built in. It's in their DNA, that's built in. And you want to just try and stamp that out. Even give them drugs to just make them... It won't work. It will not work. But it's just Karens, isn't it? It's basically Karens and soy boys hate normal men because they're threatened by them, isn't it? Basically, on a number of levels, not necessarily physically threatened. They can't stand it. Well, whatever. Luke again says, hey, at least the UK didn't have a captain destroyed 12% of their navy. You're doing better than New Zealand. Yeah, that was a great story. That was a funny story. 14 Barber, hey 14 Barber, you said, did you see the advanced UK treasurer left and joined Restore? We're going to win for sure. Also, I reckon George Russell needs to win the title this year because I think Merck will move him out after. Okay, yeah, maybe. I think George Russell probably will win F1 this year. And yeah, I did see that the advanced UK treasurer left and joined Restore, which is good and nice. I did see one or two other people posting things he'd said in the past, and they were pretty weak sauce, Civnat, globalist adjacent crap. But then, who knows, he might have changed his views since he originally posted that, who knows. Either way, it's sort of good optics, isn't it? Advance is done. It's done. It was a really big opportunity to show what it could do, to show what it was worth at Gaunton and Denton. And that was an epic fail. Getting less than the Monster Raving Leaning Party. Even if they'd done really quite badly and still lost, but they got something like 1,500 votes or 2,000 votes, still completely lost, but they got something like that, at least you could say that, all right, they lost, but there's something there. There's something that speaks to people there. But no, they got 150 votes. I feel very sorry for Nick Buckley. Don't blame Nick Buckley. But no, the party, the message didn't resonate. Well, there anyway. I mean, it is a very, very lefty Labour place. But nonetheless, they had their chance to prove what they could do, and it was an epic fail. All right, anyway, let's move on. Yeah, why not? If you're in advance, leave it. Join Restore. Ben's not the dude. Especially now he's coming out and saying loads and loads of anti-nativist stuff. Really? Oh. What a disappointment. The word disappointment doesn't even cut it as far as Ben Habib is concerned. Ugh. Right, a few more from Luke, who says, It's so annoying in South Australia. We have a massive deposit of oil. We could pump just like your North Sea oil if government truly wanted to help start pumping. Yeah. Yeah, the anti-climate lobby are mad, aren't they? Mad. Just the concept that all fossil fuels are, it's like, it's evil or dangerous to use them, to tap them and use them. It's just not. It's just not. It's a silly, crazy hoax, silly lie. Luke again said, I find this scary if Iran has as many weapons, missiles now. What would they look like in another year or so if China asked them to pop off when they invaded Taiwan? It's interesting, yeah. I mean, that is a bit of a Israeli talking point, or literally a Bibi talking point from a few days ago. But nonetheless, it's also, right, let's be honest, a bit of a fair point. If Iran has got this many, seemingly got this much ordnance now, they would have even more in a year's time. That is true, isn't it? Can't deny that. But yeah, interesting. If China wanted to invade Taiwan and they coordinated with Iran decided to pop off at exactly that moment, just for extra chaos and confusion. Yeah, interesting idea. Okay, a couple more from Cookie Boy. Cookie Boy 23 says, Farage can spout whatever he likes. I'll wait and see what's actually in Reform's contract at the general election. If they do one this time around. Got a super chat came in just the other day, like right as I was ending the show, saying something about my reading. It was hilarious or something. Well, the reason why it's quite stilted is because we don't have the capacity for someone else to screen them. So I actually have to read it first before I read it out, in case it's something terrible that will get the channel yeeted or make me look terribly silly. So if it's a bit stilted, that's why. Actually try and read it first. Alright. Cookie Boy 23 says, the only diversity this country has ever needed is diversity of intellect and diversity of skill set. Yeah, right. Yeah. They don't want diversity of thought, do they? They don't want diversity of political opinion. No, not that type of diversity, no. Diversity just means less white, doesn't it? In their world, in their dynamic. Diversity just means something that's at odds with the natives. That's what diversity means, doesn't it? Screw the English people. That's what diversity means. Or in England, anyway. Or wherever it is, in the US. Diversity. Yeah, very specific type of diversity. Yeah, not a diversity of intellect or skill set. Yeah, not that. Okay, and the last Rumble rant from ItchKit89 says, always seemed mad that we give France money to help secure our northern beaches. Their northern beaches, sorry. Why would they want to secure their exit when the invaders are already in their country? Right, yeah. Yeah, perfect point. Yeah, absolutely. It's not in France's interest. It is in France's interest to take as much money from us that we gullibly give them and then do nothing about it. It's in their interest to be like that and do that, behave that way, isn't it? Yeah. All right, have we got the YouTube super chats, Harry? Can you bring that up on my screen? Okay, there's quite a few of these as well, if I whip through them. Global Church History in at number 1. He says, today, 1306 AD, was Robert the Bruce's coronation. On epochs, I've only got a 2 or 3 part series talking about Longshanks, haven't I? And Edward II. So, good few hours talking about the age of Edward I and Edward II, i.e. the age of Robert the Bruce. Yeah, consider checking it out. Zero Herman the Tosser says, today, 2026, is the start of the Beau World Order. Day one, year zero. Year zero of Beau's Britain. Same person, Herman the Tosser, says, artist and track title of the outro music, please. The outro music. I don't know. Harry does all that. Harry, is it a thing that we just got generated? Or is it an actual bit of music we paid for? I honestly don't know. Harry?
Yeah, I think it's something that we paid for.
Okay. So the actual artist is sort of effectively unknown then? Is that how that works? I don't know, but anyway.
I'm sure I could find it out.
Okay. Can't say further than that. Herman the Tosser. I don't know how else to help you there. Sending an email to Harry, little Harry. I don't know. Okay. Hopefully we've helped you out a bit here. Okay. Semper Fubar Chile sent in 25,000 CLP. What is that? I know it's a bit of money because it comes up as a different colour when it's a fair bit of money. But what's CLP? I don't know what that is, what currency that is. I don't know if 25,000 of that is like £1.80 or whether that's like 250 quid. I've got no idea, sorry. But the fact it came up in a different colour suggests that YouTube thinks it's a fair bit of money. CLP? There'll be people in the chat right now screaming what that is. Anyway, Semper Fubar Chile, thanks for that. And you say, today, 82 years ago, my grandfather, Eric Mikil, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, jumped from his burning Lancaster and watched it explode with all his friends landing north of Berlin. The Great Escape from Stalag Luft 3 was happening, as well were 50 escapees were later executed. All right, yeah, the Great Escape, Stalag Luft 3, classic story. And your grandfather jumped into Germany right at the end of World War II. Would that be right in the closing days, even, wouldn't it? The closing days of World War II. Well done, brilliant, good on him. And again, thanks for that money there. I've got no idea if it's a small amount or a big amount. Harry, can you not Google that for me?
Yeah, it's 20 pounds worth
Okay.
of Chilean pesos.
Chilean pesos. Okay, well, there you go. So now I know. Chilean pesos. All right, well, thanks anyway. 25 quid. Not to be sniffed at. Cheers. All right. Opening Doors 1 says, Iran. Anyway, Beau, do grey outnumber red squirrels? I believe so, yeah. I don't know, I'm no expert, but I believe there's way more grey squirrels than red squirrels in Britain, in England, yeah. Like, because red squirrels are the native ones, aren't they? And they've been outbred and replaced by grey ones, largely. I'm pro-red squirrel myself, like any good patriot. You gotta be. Red squirrels for the win. I believe they have suffered a demographic decline. They're cuter as well. I mean, I think all squirrels are pretty cute, aren't they? I think red ones are much more so, in my opinion. Okay, Marcos588 says, African or European swallows? What is the wing speed velocity of a swallow? What is it? Well, depends if you're talking about an African or a European swallow, doesn't it? Quite Blackpilled says, if you want Beau Uncensored calling people silly, see you next Tuesdays, check out the State of Politics. State of Politics. I quite enjoy it. Yeah. So I've got, just quickly say, there's two other channels. History Bro, which is just my channel, History Bro, my original channel, where I just talk about history things, just straight up history content. But also the State of Politics with Nate, aka Mr. H Reviews, where we talk about politics. On that, yeah, the language is much more blue, much more uncensored. If you're interested in checking out such a thing, State of Politics. Also, of course, there's this channel that you'll be watching this on, the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, but there's another channel, lotuseaters.com, like dot spelt D-O-T, Lotus Eaters, D-O-T-C-O-M.com, lotuseaters.com. That's our second channel. And a lot of people watch this channel, the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, but not enough people click on that other channel. Again, tons and tons of free content on there, loads. So check that out. As well as consider coming to the live event. Buying Islander magazine. I don't think it's on sale at the moment, but the next issue will be out relatively soon. And go over to lotuseaters.com, the website. Become a subscriber, become a member of the Lotus Eaters website for as little as £5 a month. All right. But yeah, check out State of Politics. Global Church History says, today, 1 BC, Jesus was conceived. 9 months to Christmas. If you believe that chronology. Okay. Doom Guy, 1977, says, Mr. H was issued an incident report number from police after his Lexus got stolen in London, a capital city with roughly 1 million cameras. Hopeless. Yeah. Mr. H loves cars. He owns multiple cars. And he used to have this badass, kick-ass Lexus. It really was a sweet ride. I don't want to sound too sycophantic, but it was a sweet set of wheels. And it just got stolen in London. He had to take it to London at one point, park it up, go and do stuff, come back. It's gone. What happened? Nothing. The police gave him, just as Doom Guy says, the police gave him a crime reference number. That's it. It's like, isn't the whole of London one of the most heavily surveilled places in the entire world? If you go across London, you'll be on cameras dozens and dozens and dozens of times. If you wanted to investigate that, you could find the footage, or at least find where it went to some degree, some investigation, some sort of police work. Nope, nothing. Nope. We've logged it. That's it. That's it. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. What's the point of them at that stage? What's the point of that? What does that achieve? Yeah, so frustrating. All right, Chris281 says, so we can stop terrorism by giving out hugs. We really don't hate the media enough. Yeah, all right, right. It's sort of what they're suggesting, isn't it? You've invited a tiger to tea. You're now in the room with a very, very dangerous beast, and just accept it. Offer it a cup of tea. Give it a hug. Don't notice the fact that it's extremely dangerous. Yeah. What a crazy narrative to try and peddle. It's sickening, isn't it? It's sickening. Okay. A Lone Wolf and Cub 668 says, the Strictly cast should go to Iran to hug them. Yeah. Yeah. Hug a hoodie. Field Marshal Dawn Browning, doesn't say anything and just gives 10 Aussie dollars. Thank you very much, Dawn. Cheers, love. Appreciate it. Really do. Really do. Hope you're doing alright as well. Of course. The Field Marshal. Okay. Principled Uncertainty says, the Iranians control the Strait and have Israel and their Gulf enemies on the ropes. Any deal will involve Trump giving them performing a sexual favour upon them. Can't read out exactly what you've written there. I probably could, but... Okay, no, the point you're making is that the Iranians have the upper hand, what sort of strategically, on some level. They've got them on the ropes. They've got Israel and the Gulf and their Gulf enemies on the ropes. At this exact moment in time, I would agree with you, yeah. I mean, I think that's why the Pentagon and the Donald want to send in some ground troops, so that that's not the case. I think that's the whole idea. Because, yeah, as it stands right this second, on the morning of the 25th, yeah. But if the Straits of Hormuz could be forced open and kept open, regardless of anything Iran does, then then what you've said there will at least be less the case, won't it? I think that's what's going on here. So, yeah, another interesting, good take, Principled Uncertainty. Appreciate it. All right, and the last one here. From Nikolai Ebeck says, we cannot wait for politicians to save us. By then, everyone will have mixed in, and we won't be Europeans anymore. Check the census if you don't believe me. And then I'm not going to read the very, very last sentence you wrote there because it's a bit too spicy and I don't want to get the channel yeeted. But yeah, no, I believe you. Don't worry about that. I talk about demographics all the time, don't I? Demographics are destiny. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, that's the show. It's just ticked 20 minutes past 9 in the AM, Greenwich Mean Time, on Wednesday, the 25th of March in the year of our Lord 2026. You have been the glorious band, the chosen few, my band of brothers and sisters. Thanks for tuning in. Without you, it's not anything, is it? It's just me sitting there babbling into the void. It's you guys that make it. It really is. Perhaps I say it's too much, starts losing all its meaning, but it's just so true. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for tuning in. It means the world. All right, try and make the best of the day ahead if you can. I know it's not always possible. It's kind of rarely possible anyway, isn't it? When you're a grown up with responsibilities and a family and a job and all sorts of things, it's not always possible. If you can, seize the day. Make the best of it if you can. You won't get this time back. It's the most valuable thing you've got is your time. You won't get it back. You've got this day once in your life, once in history. Once it's gone, it's gone. Try and make it count. All right then. Until tomorrow morning. Take care.